shot at inside his residence by suspected terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir's Kupwara. In the wake of the recent terror attack in Pahalgam, security is being beefed up across the country. Union Home Minister Amit Shah held a meeting with the Delhi Police Commissioner Sanjay Arora and instructed him to ensure that law and order in the national capital is not breached. In the meeting, which lasted for about half an hour, the Home Minister also ordered to ensure that no Pakistani national is residing in Delhi. At the same time, Indian security forces are continuing their operations against terrorists and their sympathizers in the valley. Following the demolition of Lashkar-e-Toiba operatives' homes linked to Pahalgam attack, security forces in Kashmir have razed the houses of 4 more active terrorists, bringing the total number of destroyed terrorist properties to 7. Meanwhile, a day after Pakistan People's Party chief Bilawal Bhutto Sardari threatened India of bloodshed if the India's water treaty was not upheld, Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri responded to his remarks, calling the statement foolish. Puri said, "Tell him to spill his own blood somewhere by jumping, but if he doesn't get water, where will he even jump?"
Tell him to jump somewhere in water. Well, how will he when there will be no water?
Meanwhile, with both India and Pakistan scrapping visas and expelling each other's citizens, several families have been separated as they race to meet the deadline to cross the border. An Iranian national who holds a visa for travel by road has appealed to Indian authorities to leave via the Atari-Wagah border. The Iranian national has appealed to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to allow her to cross the border. No, she has been denied permission since currently only Pakistani nationals are being permitted to leave via the Atari-Wagah border. Meanwhile, BSF Constable Pranab Kumar Shaw, who inadvertently crossed the international border, remains in Pakistan's custody for the 4th consecutive day. Pakistan is yet to respond to India's repeated demand to release him. In the wake of the Pahalgam terror attack, outpouring of global solidarity continues. UAE's president spoke to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and has expressed full solidarity and support with India. FBI Director Kash Patel has also condemned the terror attack in Kashmir and offered full support to the Indian government. Amid the growing clamor for action against Pakistan, RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat expressed support for government's actions. Speaking at an event, the RSS chief said that non-violence is ingrained in Indian culture, but teaching a lesson to hooligans is also our religion.
Non-violence is our religion. Teaching a lesson to hooligans is also our religion. We never insult or harm our neighbors. But still, if someone turns to evil, what is the other option? The duty of the king is to protect the people. The king must perform his duty.
Now, at least 14 people have been killed and 750 were injured after a powerful explosion rocked Rajai port at Iran's Bandar Abbas city. The port said in a statement that blast resulted from a fire in chemical materials depot. The high-intensity blast sent shock waves for miles and kept fires blazing all night at the Shahid Rajai port. CCTV footage released by the Port Authority showed the blast as people ran in fear, while social media videos show black smoke billowing and glass blown out of buildings kilometers away from the epicenter of the explosion.
I heard a huge explosion. It was very loud. Then we saw that, unfortunately, there was a fire. You can see how the car is damaged. Roofs and windshields of all cars were shattered.
When I exited the building, I saw a huge blaze. Then there was the sound of the blast and the blast wave. All glass and stones of the building fell down.
Members of the Iranian Red Crescent were seen assisting at the scene, carrying a person on a stretcher near the site of the explosion. A firefighting plane was also spotted dumping water near the still burning fires. An official told Iranian state TV that first responders were trying to reach the area while others were attempting to evacuate the site. The state TV also reported a building collapse caused by the explosion. Iran's president, Masoud Pezeshkian, has ordered an investigation of the incident and sent his minister of interior, who said efforts were still ongoing to extinguish the fire and prevent it from spreading to other areas.
Around 12 p.m. today, a container explosion in Bandar Abbas Rajai port caused damage to nearby buildings. According to Hormozgan province's crisis management chief, initial investigation shows the reason for the blast has been a container explosion in Rajai port.
Industrial accidents are frequent in Iran, particularly due to its aging oil facilities. Now, that struggle for access to parts under international sanctions. The Iranian authorities, however, have denied the explosion had anything to do with the country's oil industry and has offered no clear explanation for what caused the blast. Now, as per a previous report published by the Financial Times, the port took a shipment of sodium perchlorate rocket fuel from China in March. The fuel was going to be used to replenish Iran's missile stocks, which had been depleted by its direct attacks on Israel.
Now, Iran has said maybe caustic chemicals of some kind were involved in this. But what's interesting is a private security firm known as Ambry has linked this blast to Iran allegedly receiving ballistic missile fuel, chemicals to make that fuel from China. This was transferred to Iran a few weeks ago, and the firm says that this fuel was at the site of the port. Now, Iranian officials have not responded to that, but it does come as Iran has used a lot of its ballistic missile arsenal in attacks against Israel during the ongoing Israel-Hamas war in the Gaza Strip.
The Rajai port at Bandar Abbas is about 1,050 kilometers southeast of Iran's capital, Tehran, on the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow mouth of the Persian Gulf through which 20% of all oil trade passes. It is a major facility for container shipments for the Islamic Republic that handles some 80 million tons of goods a year. And while 2 years on, civilians continue to pay the price of war in Sudan. At least 11 people were killed in a drone strike in a Sudanese displacement camp on Friday. The attack by multiple missiles, which set some of the tents on fire, injured 23 people, including 9 children. RSF, which denies carrying out drone attacks, has targeted power stations in army-controlled central and northern Sudan for the past several months. Aid organizations are struggling to respond to the deepening humanitarian crisis in Sudan's North Darfur. United Nations says over 480 civilians have been killed in the attacks in Sudan's North Darfur region in the last 2 weeks. The agency reported on rampant sexual violence in the region, including against young boys and girls, calling the assaults horrifying. World Food Program says half of Sudan's population of 25 million people are facing extreme levels of hunger. Famine has been confirmed across 10 locations, and 17 other regions are at the risk in the coming months. The country continues to experience hyperinflation, with prices rising year on year by 188%, indicating the severe depreciation of the Sudanese pound. Since war between the RSF and Sudanese armed forces erupted in April 2023, Sudan has descended into one of the world's most devastating humanitarian crises. While al-Burhan has touted recent military gains, including in Khartoum, fierce ground battle rages on in Darfur, where the RSF continues to push to seize army strongholds. And well, close to 100 days in office, the Trump administration is not inspiring much confidence among people. If anything, a majority of voters say his early months have been chaotic and scary. Reporting a new poll, the New York Times say many voters believe the U.S. President Donald Trump is overreaching in his efforts to expand executive power. The New York Times Siena College poll states that while Trump's overall approval ratings is low at 42%, he is notably weak among independents, where his approval has plummeted to just 29%. A majority of independents, who are a crucial electoral bloc, feel Trump is exceeding presidential powers. The majority of voters say that Trump had gone too far on tariffs, federal workforce cuts, and immigration actions. On the economy, once a strength for Trump, only 43% now approve of his management. 50% voters say his policies have worsened economic conditions, and the poll suggests a slight Democratic advantage heading into the 2026 midterms, with 47% voters preferring a Democratic congressional candidate compared to 44% favoring a Republican. The Times Siena poll surveyed 913 registered voters nationwide from April 21st to 24th, with a margin of sampling error of plus or minus 3.8 percentage points. And while crude oil prices have plunged to a 4-year low, but don't expect cheaper fuel anytime soon. Despite the global drop, Indian consumers are still paying high rates at the pump. Well, you might be wondering why. Well, oil companies are grappling with inventory losses, weak refining margins, and gas under recoveries. Here's why the relief you're hoping for is not arriving just yet. Take a look at this report to understand.
If you've been waiting for cheaper petrol and diesel prices in India, brace yourself. There's no relief at the pump yet. Global crude oil prices have tumbled to a 4-year low, hovering between $60 and $70 a barrel. But in India, fuel prices remain stubbornly high and unchanged since March 2024. So why aren't prices falling at petrol pumps even as the world pays less for oil? The answer lies in the complex economics faced by India's oil marketing companies, OMCs. While international crude is cheaper now, OMCs are still reeling from past inventory losses. Crude oil bought at higher prices earlier is still being processed or stored, and these older, costlier inventories are weighing heavily on their financials. Industry experts say that for fuel prices to drop meaningfully, oil must stay low for several weeks, because India's fuel pricing follows a 15-day rolling average of global prices. But even then, there are other hurdles. OMCs are also dealing with weak gross refining margins, the profits they make from converting crude into fuel. On top of that, they're under pressure from under-recoveries on subsidized products like LPG cylinders. This combination is squeezing their margins, leaving little room to slash fuel prices. Brokerages expect that it could take up to 2 quarters for the benefits of lower crude to be passed on to consumers. In short, despite cheaper oil globally, Indian consumers may not see a price cut anytime soon. The financial balancing act of OMCs and lingering losses mean high fuel prices are likely to stick around, at least for now. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
sports, Liverpool will have the chance to be crowned Premier League champions today when they take on Tottenham Hotspur. The Reds just need to avoid defeat to become English champions for a record equaling 20th time. But manager Arne Slot still believes there is a job to be done.
I get these questions, so then it comes to your mind, of course, but that's the last thing you think about as a manager at this particular moment of time. The only thing I think about is hopefully they are all available, the players, and then prepare them, because I saw during the week again, I noticed last week how hard it was to win a game of football against a team that was, actually I think they were relegated, not officially, but close to that because of the goal difference. And still it was hard to get the win over the line. So I'm not getting carried away at all.
The Reds are 12 points ahead of second place Arsenal and need just a point to go to 80 points, a total which Arsenal cannot reach with just 4 games remaining. Tottenham have won just 1 of their last 7 league games. Liverpool can equal Manchester United's tally of 20 English top flight titles. It will also be a second Premier League title in the last 5 years, the last coming under German Jürgen Klopp. Now, the title will also end Manchester City's unprecedented run of 4 straight titles. Slot sees the match against Tottenham as a responsibility towards their fans.
Yeah, first of all, that's a big responsibility because we are aware of the fact that the last time this club won the league, it was COVID time. So everybody is looking forward to Sunday. But we know that there's still a job to be done, and that's at least 1 point. And that's what we know, and hopefully our fans know as well when they come to the stadium, that they support us in the best possible way they can, which they've done the whole season.
And while George Lucas, the visionary behind the Star Wars saga, graced the opening of the TCM Film Festival with a special presentation of the iconic The Empire Strikes Back. This retrospective screening offered a nostalgic journey back to a galaxy far, far away, guided by the very creator who sparked the adventure. Find out more about the event in our next report.
I think it's the finest Star Wars film, and I think the thing to remember about it is the fact that it's the finest one, and almost no one, I don't say if almost no one, but people don't realize the name Irvin Kershner, who directed it. And I think people should pay more attention to the life and career of Irvin Kershner.
Old-fashioned story. I mean, these movies are all, George based these things on serials that he saw when he was a kid. So it's an upgrade of the kind of things that he loved when he was a kid. And most of us are remaking movies that we saw when we were children.
Well, that's a wrap on A World DNA. But before we go, here's a roundup of climate stories making headlines across the world. Stay tuned. You're watching Beyond What Is Money.
This week on Check It Out, we show you a new concept vehicle that's half robot, half motorbike. We also tell you how autonomous technology is helping Israeli military on the war front. And we introduce you to a bionic arm that can crawl on its own. This and more on WION World is One at these times.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
Catch me on Token Money Magnet as we yield the power of tokenization only on WION.
On Wings this week, a voyage for new possibilities for India as cruise tourism is in focus for expansion. We feature what Rajasthan has in store for visitors as tourism surges in the state. And highlights of Easter celebrations worldwide, only on WION World is One. In a move to slash federal funding, the Trump administration plans to shut embassies in 8 African countries, including the Central African Republic, Congo, Eritrea, Gambia, Lesotho, and South Sudan. Somalia launches voter registration in the capital Mogadishu for the first time in over 50 years, a step towards universal suffrage ahead of presidential elections scheduled for 2026 in the volatile nation. And an autistic Nigerian teen artist wins the Guinness World Records for the largest artwork on canvas by an individual. Watch World of Africa at these times on WION World is One.
As climate change worries experts, we decode the film and television industry's alarming carbon footprint. Meet Kesari Chapter 2 director Karan Singh Tyagi and know all about celebrities who are struggling with rare disorders. All this and much more with me, Jyotsna Kumar, on WION eClub at these times.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Hello and welcome back. You're watching WION World is One. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Jyotsna Kumar. Let's begin with the headlines. Residents of 4 more suspected terrorists demolished by security personnel in South Kashmir in the wake of the Pahalgam terror attack that claimed 26 lives. FBI Director Kash Patel offers condolences to all the victims of Pahalgam terror attack, affirms full support of the US to the Indian government. Death toll rises to 14 and hundreds more injured in a powerful explosion that ripped through a vital port in southern Iran. US says 24/7 operations continue against Houthis, shares video of CENTCOM forces aboard USS Harry S. Truman and USS Carl Vinson. 8 wounded in strikes on Yemen, claims the rebel group. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas names close confidant Hussein al-Sheikh as his deputy and likely successor. Thousands protest in Tel Aviv, calling on Netanyahu's government to sign a hostage deal with Hamas and end the war in Gaza. US President Donald Trump questions his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin's desire for peace. This after meeting Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky on the sidelines of Pope Francis' funeral. Well, amidst the escalating tensions between India and Pakistan, the Pakistani army continued unprovoked firing along the line of control for the second consecutive night. According to the Indian Army, soldiers from multiple Pakistani army posts opened fire at Indian troops in the areas opposite Tutmani Gali and Rampur sectors. The situation in the valley also remains tense. A 45-year-old social activist, Ghulam Rasool Magre, was shot at inside his residence by suspected terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir's Kupwara. In the wake of the recent terror attack in Pahalgam, security is being beefed up across the country. Union Home Minister Amit Shah held a meeting with Delhi Police Commissioner and instructed him to ensure that law and order in the national capital is not breached. In the meeting, which lasted for about half an hour, the Home Minister also ordered to ensure that no Pakistani national is residing in Delhi. At the same time, Indian security forces are continuing their operations against terrorists and their sympathizers. In the valley, following the demolition of Lashkar-e-Toiba's operatives' homes linked to the Pahalgam attack, security forces in Kashmir have razed the houses of 4 more active terrorists, bringing the total number of destroyed terrorist properties to 7. Meanwhile, a day after Pakistan People's Party chief Bilawal Bhutto Zardari threatened India of bloodshed if the Indus Water Treaty was not upheld, Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri responded to his remarks.
Tell him to jump somewhere in water. Well, how will he when there will be no water?
Meanwhile, with both India and Pakistan scrapping visas and expelling each other's citizens, several families have been separated as they race to meet the deadline to cross the border. An Iranian national who holds a visa for travel by road has appealed to Indian authorities to leave via the Attari-Wagah border. The Iranian national has appealed to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to allow her to cross the border. Now, she has been denied permission since currently only Pakistani nationals are being permitted to leave via the Attari-Wagah border. Meanwhile, BSF Constable Pranab Kumar Shaw, who inadvertently crossed the international border, remains in Pakistan's custody for the fourth consecutive day. Pakistan is yet to respond to India's repeated demand to release him. In the wake of the Pahalgam terror attack, outpouring of global solidarity continues. UAE President spoke to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and expressed full solidarity and support with India. FBI Director Kash Patel has also condemned the terror attack in Kashmir and offered full support to the Indian government. Now, amid the growing clamor for action against Pakistan, RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat expressed support for government's action. Speaking at an event, the RSS chief said that non-violence is ingrained in Indian culture, but teaching a lesson to hooligans is also our religion.
Non-violence is our religion. Teaching a lesson to hooligans is also our religion. We never insult or harm our neighbors. But still, if someone turns to evil, what is the other option? The duty of the king is to protect the people. The king must perform his duty.
And it has been 4 days since Kashmir was jolted by a terrorist attack. Pakistan's government has issued its first response to Pahalgam tragedy, just a day after Defense Minister Khwaja Asif's admission on Pakistan training terrorists for the West. The Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has called India's allegations baseless and said that they are ready for a neutral investigation. The Pakistani Prime Minister's remark comes at a time when TRF, who earlier claimed responsibility for the Pahalgam attack, has now retracted its statement.
Pakistan is open to participate in any neutral, transparent, and credible investigation.
The Resistance Front is the shadow group of the banned Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba. 4 days after the Pahalgam terror, TRF said an unauthorized message was posted from one of their digital platforms, and the terror outfit accused India of manufacturing chaos for political gain, adding that any attribution of this act to TRF is false. Now, TRF's retraction comes on the heels of the Pakistani Prime Minister also saying that the attack is an example of blame game, accusing India of leveling baseless allegations, saying he is open to a third-party probe in the matter. Now, this is not the first time Pakistan has offered to participate in investigations. In 2016, Islamabad had offered to do the same after the Pathankot terror attack. This was when a team of Pakistan investigators and officials had visited the Pathankot airbase. Similarly, in the Mumbai 26/11 terror attack, Pakistan agreed to cooperate with India, but despite all evidences provided by New Delhi, Islamabad failed to respond. Shehbaz Sharif, while giving a speech at the Pakistan Military Academy, which was attended by Pakistani military officials, also repeated the remark made by Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir, in which he described Kashmir as the jugular vein of Pakistan. Sharif stressed that Pakistan's armed forces are prepared to defend the country's sovereignty.
Our valiant armed forces remain fully capable and prepared to defend the country's sovereignty and its territorial integrity against any misadventure as clearly demonstrated by its measured yet resolute response to India's reckless incursion in February 2019.
Responding to India's suspension of the Indus Water Treaty, Pakistan's Prime Minister vowed that Pakistan will respond with full force if its access to Indus water is denied.
Any attempt to stop, reduce, or divert the flow of water belonging to Pakistan under the Indus Water Treaty would be responded to with full force and might, and nobody should remain under any kind of false impression and confusion.
Moving on, at least 14 people have been killed and 750 were injured after a powerful explosion rocked Rajai port at Iran's Bandar Abbas city. The port said in a statement that blast resulted from a fire in a chemical materials depot. The high-intensity blast sent shockwaves for miles and kept fires blazing all night at the Shahid Rajai port. CCTV footage released by the port authorities showed the blast as people ran in fear, while social media videos show black smoke billowing and glass blown out of buildings kilometers away from the epicenter of the explosion.
I heard a huge explosion. It was very loud. Then we saw that unfortunately there was a fire. You can see how the car is damaged. Roofs and windshields of all cars were shattered.
When I exited the building,